reunion, you can go down to Greenwich Village and play your own music. And go to this place called the Cafe War, and tell Manny I told you to come down there, and you're going to find your band down there. Well, he did. He found the people who made up his first band, which was Jimmy James and the Blue Flame. Mm-hmm. Right after that, the guys from from England took him to London, and I didn't see him for a while, and he came back with Are You Experienced as the first album. Incredible person. And an incredible guy. Really, if you guys, could have felt what that guy threw out live, it would blow your mind. It would scare you, because it scared me. Tell you that. It's so good, you just didn't know what the heck he was doing. He was playing animals and airplanes, jet planes going by, and all of this stuff. And that album is still a fantastic album to listen to with headphones, because you're in the environment. He's panning left and right from one. The plane comes in, you could hear it come in from the right and go out at the left, dropping bombs and the bombs. He did everything, and it was that raw animal that he put to the music that really specialized him. It took him out of the fray of just any old guitar player singing blues or playing the blues. He went beyond.
Now, obviously we weren't at Woodstock, so how would you describe it to someone who wasn't there?
Well, I would have to say that it was an event that my generation would have expected to probably have, or we wished and hoped we would have probably had an event like that, which was part of gaining a voice to speak out on things. So it's part politicizing us partially, and because we didn't know very much of that when we were 19 and 20. And so there were so many things going on around us that didn't seem correct. The America we grew up in Brooklyn and, around that area, were friends. My friends came from all over the world. And I went to school with guys that came from all over the world. And so the real melting pot already happened in Brooklyn. And that's where, the rock and roll comes into play, because rock and roll was the voice we had through the 50s, so we expected somebody to hear something and something to change by the late 50s. But it didn't. It happened within the next 10 years. And they expected 60,000 people. And now, if they had gotten 60,000 people, that would have been history as well, because that had never happened before. But it turned out that 520,000 people showed up the whole week before it started.
Wow.
Down. Now, if you could imagine a camp like, 520,000 people, well, let's say a third of them were in the woods, because that's where the arts and crafts part of the festival was. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't see them from the air. But if you look at that film and you see the hill that all the people are standing on as it goes all the way up to the top of the hill, there was another field on the opposite side of that hill where just as many people were sitting. They couldn't even see the stage, but they were on the slope going down from the other side of the road. It had a road up around that rim that we see. That's why the rim looks so straight, is that it was a road there. And on the other side of the road was the other two speakers 100 feet in the air. Best sound I ever heard, because you could hear it for 6 miles. And I was anxious. I was very anxious to get there, but they didn't have a way to get anyone there. So they found this farmer down the road who had a bubble helicopter. And he sat us in there because we had the least instruments and the least guys.
Okay.
How I got over there. After that, he ran home. He said, I can't carry all this equipment over there. This is a little helicopter, you already got me overweight. I said, don't say that, because I don't want to hear it. It was my first helicopter ride. Don't say you overbooked it. We made it. Just let's be happy about that. But they chased me around the field. Here's a little trivia. They chased me around the field to go on first. I was supposed to go on fifth. And when I got there, I expected the thing to be going on already, and it hadn't been. They were already like 5 hours late with the concert. I go, gosh, anybody who gets up there is going to get killed. They've been waiting too long. They're going to get excited. And but so they actually had to talk me into going on first because I didn't know. I go, gosh, I don't know how these people are feeling. I hope they're okay. I'm looking out at all of those people going, wow, holy smoke, this is more than 60,000. This was 5 times more. And so I knew that what we as a generation was expecting to happen, which is to express ourselves with this voice that we were given, it would call rock and roll, and to be able to be a part of watching that melting pot that we already grew up in stay together, hook together. They make it look in the movies like it was all young people. Well, if you look a little closer, you could see a lot of guys with older than college age, and they were the guys who were experiencing the Newport Folk Festival, the Newport not rock festival, but jazz festival, and seeing this whole thing come together, and all the different kinds of music met on that stage, and that's what made it historic, is that we all were looking for that day to happen. That's how Freedom was written, because I went off stage after 40 minutes when they said, you go out and do your set. Everybody was supposed to do 40 minutes. So I did 40 minutes. I walked out, and they said, Richie, could you do 4 more? We don't have anybody else coming yet. I'm going, okay, no problem. I did 4 more. And I got off, and they said, Richie, 4 more? I go, okay. And the 6th time they did this to me, I came out, I go, what am I going to sing? I sang every song I know. Holy smokes, what am I going to do now? Can't revert to doo-wop, It ain't happening. So what happened was, I said to myself, looking out of all of these people, that this is truly what my generation was looking to happen, have this happen to us in our own time. And I said, this is the freedom we've been looking for. And at that point, you could hear that long intro that you hear on the record is me trying to figure out what I'm going to sing. And I'm sitting there for quite a long time there, and I'm strumming, and I'm yelling, turn up the microphone, please. Making any excuse I could to wait, to get the time. And finally, I just started singing Freedom. And then next thing I know, Motherless Child came out, which was a song that I hadn't sung in about 16 years. It was kind of a religious song, even though it doesn't speak about religion. It speaks about freedom in that sense of religion. Mm-hmm. And then the words to that other little piece where it says, when I want my brother, I will call my brother. When I need my mother, I'll call my mother. And that came from another song that I sang with a family, church choir, when I was about 16 years old. And it all came together just like that. And believe it or not, I had to go to the movies 9 months later to see what I had done. That's the one that I forgot first, because it was extemporaneous. I just did it, and it just came out that way. I had no plans for that. But when I walked up that time, that was it. I could hear a helicopter coming. Trivia number 2. If it wasn't for the United States Army and the Hueys that they brought to take everybody back and forth, there wouldn't have been a Woodstock.
Now, you play Guild guitars, and they recently released a signature model built to your specifications. What was this whole process like?
Well, it was the model that I played for so long, for years, until when their company was sold. They begin to chinch it out. They begin to sort of change things so they won't have to use a whole lot of this or a whole lot of that. And it sounded different. The model sounded different. So a guitar with you? I said, well, only if you put the Strats inside of the guitar